All right, welcome back into auburnsports.com, Monday Morning Takeaways. I am Justin Hokanson. With me today is Bryan Matthews making the trip back from Nashville. I actually just got back, so we both were driving this morning. What's up, man?
Oh, it's good, man. Rolling down 65 north of Birmingham, having a nice little ride. Although the dog has not stopped panting since we left, so that's just how she is. She gets too anxious on these drives.
Yeah, no, it's I understand how it is. I enjoyed the drive. It's a great time of year to make the drive.
Yep.
All the leaves are changing, all that good stuff. All right, let's get into this. Auburn falls to Vanderbilt, 45-38 overtime. Don't think we expected that game at all, offensively or defensively. That was an interesting one. It's crazy how life is just sort of cyclical in some ways. 3 years ago, almost to the day, Brian Harsin was fired.
Yep.
Cadillac takes over. On a short week, Auburn goes on the road, plays a top 20 team, Mississippi State, and loses in overtime in a game in which the offense for the first time in forever showed life. 3 years later, coach fired, short week, on the road, top 20 team, offense shows life, lose in overtime. And very much the only difference is then Auburn fans were, I think, really optimistic after the game. There was a lot of moral victory stuff going on after that game. I remember Auburn came back and beat A&M after that. This one is different. This one is equally Auburn fans happy and excited of what they saw on offense. Didn't love what they saw on defense, but just were glad that there was something on offense that gave them, that thought they had a chance to win. But there is Auburn fans might be more upset with Hugh Freeze on Sunday, and he didn't even coach. He hadn't been the coach for a week, and they might be more mad at him now than they were the Sunday after Kentucky. I mean, what we saw in Nashville, I'm sorry. I made a joke on the bunker. I was like, can we fire him again? I made a post on Twitter that night. I'm in disbelief at how good it looked. It could look. They're not going to do that every week. They're not going to do that against Alabama, but that's what it's capable of. And we had to watch just the absolute malpractice of what Hugh Freeze did with that offense. And it's just more maddening to watch the potential it could have been, the playmakers that you do have. I don't know. I don't know if that's more of a takeaway for you or if the game stuff is a takeaway. Maybe it's equal, but it's just it's a weird Sunday where you're thinking about the game, but you're also still shaking your head at what Hugh Freeze did with this offense over 3 years.
No, I'm with you, and we should fire Hugh Freeze again and again and again. And your daddy was not promised 4 years. He probably should have had 4 months. Judging by what we saw over the last 6 days, that was a great job by Derek Nix and his group. I did have my doubts about them going in because they were free disciples. So I wondered what was going to be different. Well, everything was different. The offense looked like it had a plan, looked like it made sense. I thought Ashley Daniels had an incredible game, and it's amazing what this offense can do when you get it into the hands of its best players. And the fact that we saw that on the road at Vanderbilt, and we saw that trash for 9 games before then, or 9 games before then, it's just it is malpractice. That's a great word. I'm definitely writing my column on this. I'm going to have to find a better word than malpractice, though, although I may have to steal that one. But yeah, it was great, and it really exposed and was a referendum on how bad Hugh Freeze was, how bad his offense was. Everything you have said about Hugh Freeze over the last couple of years has been a 100% spot on about his lack of attention to detail, about how he just kind of blows in and blows out, doesn't really pay attention, or didn't pay attention to what was going on all the time, didn't know what the game plan was all the time, was calling plays, that weren't practiced that week or had been practiced for weeks. It's just, it's right there for everybody to see. You don't have to know all the details to see exactly what was going on with Auburn's team and Auburn's offense.
Yeah. And I think the fact that it happened so quickly, if Auburn kind of went to Nashville and sort of sputtered around on offense, you'd be like, well, of course. I mean, what do you expect? And then in the Iron Bowl, they kind of bust out and they look pretty good. Like that would have made more sense. The fact that happened within days is the is this the crazy part. I mean, it's I don't know. I loved the tempo. I think that was a huge part of it. I mean, a lot of the plays I saw, they're not new plays. It's the same playbook, but certainly the tempo made a big difference. It seemed to put Vanderbilt's defense on their heels a little bit so that you could run those slants and RPOs, and the DBs weren't always just jumping those routes. You ran at a speed where they were on their heels a little bit, I thought, and couldn't always get the perfect play in. And I wondered, like, really, gosh, when Freeze got here in 23, he tried to do the tempo, but he has progressively slowed that tempo last year and then this year. And you would always think it was because, well, the offense they're not executing well. So he was maybe slowing it down to try to make sure everybody's on the same page. And what you saw was that's just a huge part of what he always did on offense. And it was like the same thing with the Gus thing. You take the tempo out of that, and you're just stripping away one of the advantages that you built in about kind of the simplicity of the offense. The tempo is necessary, and you saw it was such a help in that game. And clearly, DJ Durkin said, "Go for it. I'll deal with it on defense. It is what it is. You got to do what you got to do to try to be successful." And so, man, you're right. Ashton Daniels was fantastic. Quick decisions, athletic. I mean, what a game. I mean, like 442 total yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, the numbers in that game, 442 total yards and 4 touchdowns for Ashton. Cam Coleman had a career high in catches and yards. Eric Singleton had a career high in catches. It's the first time since the 2004 SEC championship game that you had a 300-yard passer, 100-yard rusher, 100-yard receiver, and they had 200-yard receivers in this game. The most yards in an SEC game since 2019. The most yards against a ranked SEC opponent since 2016. Like, all this happened within days of the play caller being fired.
It's crazy. It really is. It's insane, the difference they made. I think one of the problems with Hugh Freeze is he feels like he has to control things. And I think the reason he slowed it down was because he wanted to look at it. He wanted to tell the quarterback what to do. And I think it just slowed down everything. It made the whole process so dull. So we got to do exactly what Hugh Freeze told us instead of just going out there and playing ball. And those guys were definitely going out there and playing ball at Vanderbilt. I mean, there's no doubt. You could tell they're having fun. They're just making plays. Ashton had a 50-something yard touchdown taken back on a penalty. It could have been more. Again, I thought Auburn was a little unfortunate in that game in some ways, right, with the difference in penalties. And, it's the way it goes sometimes. But it's just it makes you think back, why did they go this long with Freeze, and what different had they made this call a couple of weeks ago? I can understand why they waited, but man, it'd be nice to see what this team could have done with a couple more weeks to prepare and get the offense back in gear.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I mean, the Missouri game was blown. The Kentucky game was blown. Those are 2 you should have had, and then you could speculate about a competent offense against Oklahoma or Georgia, whatever. But I mean, they just looked really good. Another thing that I pointed out was having some conversations this morning, and it's something I've talked about going back to last year, was how Hugh Freeze just looked stressed constantly on the sideline. He was either complaining to officials or he just looked worried all the time. And I talked about it last year. I'm like, this cannot be good. The way you sort of are communicating with your quarterback, it felt pessimistic and not optimistic and all that. And I felt like that always would carry over to the offense. Like they'd have moments, but they would buckle under pressure. And I just wondered, if Freeze's presence down there was not affecting them, I didn't love his demeanor all the time. And then, he's off the sideline. Derek Nix is up in the booth, so you have no play caller on the side. You have no guy. No, Freeze is not down there like worried and stressed and complaining to the officials and throwing his hands up and shaking his head like, oh my God, what would you do there? And all that was gone. And then you have a confident offense. You have an offense that's calm, that was just playing football, didn't buckle under the pressure. I mean, how about 5 minutes to go? In all these past games, when they would falter, 5 minutes to go, boom, they drive down and score a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion. And they, it's like even that was something that I noticed that I thought helped them, and I could see the demeanor in the offense being different.
Yeah, he definitely, his nervousness, his grumpiness really showed, I think, to anybody that watched games, and I think it did have an effect on his team. Definitely did. I think the team takes over the attitude of their head coach, Shelton. And I thought last night, having the OC in the booth, having the quarterback coach on the field, having Durkin on the sidelines, it just streamlined everything. And I think that's more of a model that a lot of staffs use that works really effectively. And I think it did. And man, it's just amazing. I'm still amazed. It's been, 24 hours or less than 24 hours. That's the difference it made. It's a shame that Vanderbilt was so good offensively and they switched things up that Auburn wasn't ready for. But, man, the offense deserves credit. And I think people are actually kind of a little excited coming out of that loss for whatever reason. I just feel more optimism coming out of that game than I felt for Auburn in a little while.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly feel like you can compete in the Iron Bowl. At least that. At least you're not going to walk in thinking, you don't have a shot. And so at least you'll go into that, and that's what it'll take to go to a bowl game, if that matters. We can talk about that in a second. You mentioned Vanderbilt's offense. Man, they were clicking as good as Auburn's offense was. Vanderbilt's was as good. Pavia was awesome. Durkin said after the game that the tempo and the just spread it out offense was different than what they've done. Certainly they have the capability, but he said that just kind of all out spread it out tempo stuff is not what they've done a lot of the year.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he said they kind of just weren't prepared for it, and they could not find their footing. I mean, there was I think Vanderbilt had a string of 5 touchdowns and 6 drives, and they were drives of like 3, 6, 4, 5 plays. It was it showed. Auburn doesn't give up those kind of drives. Auburn's not a shut down, lockdown defense, but they've been a bend but don't break. They've been really good against the run. They have not been a defense that gives up 3-play drives, 5-play drives. That's not been them. And so I think that was pretty evident that they were just back on their heels big time. And credit Vanderbilt, and Pavia is a really good player. And I said, we were sitting there talking in the press box, and Auburn's offense started, and I go, wouldn't it be ridiculous if Auburn's offense takes off and then their defense falters? And sure enough, that's just the way the season's going. I'm not even mad at the defense. I mean, I guess if we want to sort of go, hey, no moral victories, like defense needs to play better, I hear you. But my gosh, they've played so good all year, having a bad game. It's a really good offense. Pavia is a fantastic quarterback. Auburn's defense made a stop late. They gave him a chance. But it's a shame that side of the ball didn't play, their normal game, I guess.
Yeah, it is. And, I wonder if Durkin might look at it and decide that maybe he's better off giving some more power to some other guys on the defensive sidelines to make adjustments and handle things. I don't know if it would have made a difference or not. I do think that watching Pavia operate in that offense, that should be Vanderbilt's offense 100% of the time. Spread teams out and let him make plays. That's impossible to stop, in my opinion. He's an incredible quarterback, incredible playmaker. I would love, if I was a coach, I would love to have a guy like that running my team on offense for sure. I agree with you on defensively. They've been great all year. It happens sometimes. You get these games, and I just credit the offense for staying in the fight, coming back. That incredible drive they did to tie that game. It happened as I was walking down, so I missed some of it. I had to go back and catch it, the highlights. But Cam Coleman, just incredible. It's amazing what you do when you just put the ball in the air and let him make a play. It's just amazing.
Yeah, Jason Campbell. I heard some of the radio at different times of the game, and that catch, or at that point in the game, I think his comment on the radio was, "You're only as good as your opportunities."
Yep.
And that's right. With Eric Singleton and Cam, like that's right. They can be as good as they can be, but if they don't have the opportunities, it's not there. I thought you wrote about the penalties. I mean, I thought there were definitely a couple of moments where Auburn is going to look back. I mean, there's a few. There's Ashton Daniels getting to the 1 yard line and and then they have a false start and have to settle for a field goal. That should have been a touchdown. You have the Pleasant face mask that was just unnecessary. That's
nowhere near the play.
Yeah, that's not really like an aggressive. That was a bad penalty. It would have been 3rd and forever. Vanderbilt scores a touchdown on that drive. Those two are big time standout. And then now Vanderbilt could go the other way. They thought they had a hold on Preston Howard on Daniel's touchdown run that was iffy. I mean, the guy was kind of falling down. Howard was
he was
ankles. I mean, it was one of those where I don't know if I saw a hold. It kind of looked like a tackle, but I also thought they were both just turning the ball. I don't know, but it was close. But I thought the face mask and that false start were pretty cool. It directly affected some points there where Auburn's going to look back and go, man, we actually should have won the game.
Well, Preston has been a guy that's struggled, right, most of the season with holds, with drop passes and stuff. But I thought that block, he pushed 2 guys down the field for like more than 10 yards, and sometimes when you finish those blocks, it doesn't look pretty. But I just thought that was an incredibly well-blocked play. I give Preston Howard credit for that one. I know he's made lots of mistakes for that individual play. I thought it was terrific. And, that's a room that needs to be improved for next year. But, hey, at least he's out there competing despite all the issues he's had out there. And, man, just, it's good to be talking about a game. And when you say you're close, it actually is true that Auburn was close to winning that game. It's not just a bunch of BS from the head coach,
Yeah, it's not a close, your defense played great, and the score looked close, but it never really felt like you were going to get over the hump. The other, if I wanted to be nitpicky, the last drive, they got down, they had to pass to Cobb, they had the PI on Eric Singleton. The last couple of plays I didn't love. You end up with Preston Howard in the game in the slot, and you run an out route with him. It wasn't a great throw because you overthrew him, but also, why is he in there? I didn't love that. I guess they just got caught sort of in the same formation. But, I mean, you got to have Cam, Singleton, Perry, and Malcolm out there right then. And so when they threw that, of course, if it's a decent throw, maybe he catches it and it works still. But it did kind of go through his hands at the same time. So I didn't. That play hurt because that should have been an easy out route. And I think it would have given Connor Gibbs a shot. I think it would have been about a 52, 53-yarder, but he's got a pretty good – you could have trotted Connor out there with 5 seconds left, and you could have had a shot right there. And then you tried one more play that almost took too much time. You got lucky you got a second. So the last 2 plays, I wish they could have just gotten 5-6 more yards and then given Connor at least a shot there. But Vanderbilt probably wishes they'd have kicked the field goal instead of going for it on 4th down there as well. So I don't know. I mean, it's probably you put all that effort in. Now they get the week off comes at a great time. Durkin can catch his breath. You can try to get your head wrapped around everything, and you have a whole week off. And then you've got Mercer, who's a good football team, but certainly a team that you should win. But you got 2 weeks to look at Bama film. You certainly got to watch film of Mercer, not to compare Mercer to New Mexico State. That's not a comparison. But do your due diligence on Mercer, but you got an extended period of time to look at Alabama. You got an extended period of time if you're Durkin and you're Derek Nix to get your feet under you a little bit. If you're Ashton Daniels, get your feet under you even more a little bit, and try to go win these next 2 ball games, which they're capable of. Iron Bowl's at home. Auburn is capable of winning that game. They are. Let me ask you this: the bowl game scenario. from a player perspective, I'm sure there's players there that want to go to a bowl game. But like, I'm looking at this going, I'm just curious. I feel like there would be a lot of people that would have different opinions on, would a bowl game even be beneficial? Like, what would that look like if Auburn upset Alabama? What does a bowl game look like if you're trying to make a coaching hire? If you beat Alabama, is Durkin, like, what does that do? If you think you've got a head coach and then he wins that, you almost have to decide before that if Durkin's is he real or not? Is he a guy that I want or not? I mean, if he wins that game and you're days away from wanting to make a hire, do you go, oh, well, on second thought, like, so you're trying to hire a coach, you're potentially then trying to hire staff, you're trying to retain guys, you make a bowl game. Well, there's going to be players that are going to want to hit the portal, so you're going to have players that leave that aren't even a part of the team when you go to a bowl. Like, the whole proposition of a bowl, and I know that's weeks away, but I just was thinking about it on the drive home.
Yep.
Like, I mean, do fans want to go to a bowl? Like, it's like beat Alabama, but I just wonder about like the internal operation of it. If a bowl is beneficial, or if it would just add, work to like what you're trying to sort of rebuild if you hire a coach. I don't know, a lot going on, I feel like, with that. But
there is, and I think that's interesting. I think if I was in charge of the program, I want to ask the players, see what they think, what they want. And I also think a lot of the stuff with portaling and making deals with these players can happen starting right now. You can start talking to those players and trying to reach deals and trying to preserve that roster for the next guy. I'm not saying everybody can get done within the next couple of weeks, but I think that process can start right away. The other thing, this week, there's a big decision to be made, and that's with Ashton Daniels and whether he plays against Mercer. I certainly want your opinion, but my opinion is this. My opinion is you do not play him against Mercer. You prepare a game plan with Jackson Arnold and our Deuce Knight, and you prepare a game plan for Alabama with Ashton Daniels, and you start practicing both game plans right now. That's exactly what I would do. I would just get in the weeds and find a way to put in a plan good enough to beat Mercer, run that daggum ball, and then come up with a plan that we can really work on against Alabama and prepare for them with Ashton for a few weeks, preserve his eligibility, and have a guy that's capable of 442 total yards of offense come back and lead your team next year.
That's interesting. It kind of makes me think about basketball. So in basketball, because games are so close together, you often have two scouting reports happening at the same time in basketball. So like you'll be like, hey, Burgo, you take this scout, and then the game that's in 5 days, 6 days, that's going to be, your scout, and you're already starting on it. So it's interesting because the common denominator there would be Nick's. Like, he's got to be involved in both. So you want him to be full on with Mercer, but it's an interesting thought about starting to get some initial thoughts on Alabama and having meetings with Ashton and start to kind of mentally prepare him on a little bit of the stuff that you might want to do for Bama, or start getting him alone to watch film. About the Mercer game. Yeah, it's interesting because, one, Ashton showed you that Ashton needs to be a part of the quarterback room next year. He needs to compete. If he wins the job, great. If Deuce wins the job, and if Deuce comes back and wins the job, great. If Deuce leaves and you bring another portal, whatever, Ashton, you'd love for him to be a part of the room. And just for Ashton individually, I would hate for his last year to be this. He was going to redshirt and come back, and he got thrown into the mix because Hugh Freeze is incompetent. And gets thrown into the mix, and then his eligibility is now ruined because of the Hugh Freeze nonsense. That really sucks for him. And so I hope he gets a chance to come. I hope they decide to let him sit the Mercer game and play, and whether that's even come back to Auburn, whatever. Ashton, I just feel like that guy deserves to have a chance to come back. He's had a great attitude all year. He said, if you want to redshirt me, cool. All right, you want me to play? Cool. He could have said, listen, don't play me, man. This late in the year, I'm out. Like, we're not even going to go to bowl. But no, did he do that? No. He stepped in and did everything he's supposed to do. So I'm a big fan of him being able to play next year, whether it's Auburn or wherever. So I think that's the right move. Who they want to play, I don't know. Like, it's weird to go back to Jackson. I feel like I don't know. I mean, that's an odd one. I do think you have an opportunity to let Deuce play, see what you got in him. Here's the other thing: what if you toss Deuce out there and he's just like doesn't retain it for me? Like, what if it goes really poorly?
I know.
Maybe then if he wants to leave, you're like, you know what? Maybe you're not as bummed. Or by playing him, you say, listen, dude, we're investing in you. You're the guy here, and we want you to come back. And maybe there's a move there. But I think I'm with you. I think most people agree. Sit Ashton for Mercer, play somebody else against Mercer. Probably Deuce seems to make sense that you feel like you could probably win that game. I agree. I don't know about the game plan. I don't know how that would work logistically. Like, could you start to prepare Ashton for Bama? But I do.
Coaches would be entirely against that, or at least publicly against it. But I don't know what they do privately.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. Well, they got some time. They got a week off. They can figure that out. We won't know about it. Obviously, we don't get to talk to the coaches this week, so we won't talk to Durkin until next week. I guess we'll see who they have on Tiger Talk on Monday, but not like they're going to give any of that away. But yeah, that's an interesting question. A very, very odd dilemma there, but I feel like that would probably be the right move. And
the other thing is, what if Deuce and or Jackson can't get it done against Mercer? And you got to bring in somebody in the fourth quarter to win a football game.
Agreed.
Yeah. So hopefully we won't get to that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. I don't know about it is interesting. I do think Durkin will be in a better place. I think he did have, I wrote about it Friday. He and the defensive staff did spend a little time early in the week with the offensive staff helping formulate that game plan. So it really was a team effort. I give a ton of credit to Derek Nix for calling the plays, certainly after the scripted plays. I kind of wondered, all right, there's the script, but it was pretty good. I mean, they did have a little bit of a stagnation where they had some field goals and some punts there third quarter. They rebounded and put together a touchdown drive late, but certainly now maybe Durkin can take a step back and it could look a little more normal, or I don't know. Maybe they do the exact same thing against Mercer, and the defensive staff has a little bit of input and they formulate this sort of thing together. Maybe that happens again. But what a collective effort to put that together, call the plays that are on the play sheet that you prepared, stay consistent to that, stay true to that. Don't pop up with a random play here and there that you haven't practiced in a month. That was all. And that was all good to see. Mason Murphy seemed to play well. I think that's another thing. You look back and go, I don't know whose call that was to play Cale Ellis against Kentucky. Was that Jake Thornton or Freeze? But that's another one that you look back and go, he was a liability in that game. And I don't know, was Mason not ready? Did it take Mason another week? Could Mason have played that? Was he just not ready? But it's another decision that could have made a difference in that game because Cale Ellis was just kind of living in the backfield in that Kentucky game. But I don't know.
Yeah, Auburn's got to do a better job evaluating tight ends and offensive linemen too. Just personnel-wise, it's just not getting it done at the moment, in my opinion.
Well, but hey, I guess at the same time, give credit to whoever scouted Ashton. If that was Hugh, if that was whoever, good call. Hey, we needed a second. They needed another quarterback. They knew they needed to bring somebody in, and they target him and they bring him in after the spring. Good call. Good find. And so I wish he'd have been here earlier. If he'd have gone through spring, he might have been maybe he would have been your quarterback. I think he was always behind the eight ball coming in the summer. And certainly Jackson was kind of the guy you targeted. So it always felt like Jackson was going to get the first shot. But.
Well, I think they handed it to him, right? I mean, hey, let's take it easy on Ashton in the spring. He's going to be our starter, and let's keep throwing him out there week after week when he cannot throw a pass farther than 6 yards down the field, regularly. I mean, how many hitches and curls did Auburn run last night? I don't remember many, to be honest.
Well, yeah, especially on the outside, there was still those. Singleton still had those sit it down in the slot, but you did see more slants.
Yeah.
But I loved the decisiveness of Ashton getting rid of the football. But it just seemed like you had the defense on their heels a little bit more. It seemed like in past games, you'd see some similar routes, but the defense was just on them. They were sitting up on it.
Yep.
And it felt like they were back a little bit more, and so you had some space to make some of those throws, and Ashton made a bunch of good decisions in that game. Durkin said afterwards it was the first game he was on the headset listening to the offense. Normally it's the defensive headset. He goes, that was the first time being on that part where he's hearing Nix talk to the coach and he's hearing what Ashton is saying. And he said he was really impressed at Ashton's ability to absorb information and be calm and make decisions during the game. And he said that he was really impressed by that. We talked to Durkin post game, got emotional, talking about
twice. Yep.
Players, just which I can totally get. What an emotional week in general. Probably some of that emotion is just him. Like it's just like this was a crazy week, and part of it is the close game. Part of it is the care for the players and appreciating their buy-in. Part of it is just the weight and the stress of the week. But he talked about their buy-in. Talked about coaches already hitting these guys up, which we know is happening, about the portal. And then you saw his post-game locker room speech, which was similar, which is about, hey, listen, we're not here for moral victories. We're here to win games and all that. But your effort was commended, and we challenged you guys, and you guys responded, and it was what you want to hear afterwards. I thought you could listen to Keldrick Falk after the game, and man, those defensive guys are all Dirk. Those defensive guys are Coach Dirk, like ride or die Coach Dirk. I mean, they
love him.
We play for him. We practice with him. They want him. I mean, you don't make the decision off this, but if Dirk doesn't come back, you will lose. You will lose guys because of that. That's not why you make the decision. I'm just stating the fact there. But
I found that very interesting too. Going back 9 years ago when he was at Maryland, that he was accused of being very what's the word that was used? Just very cruel and using a lot of put downs to players, and you had the talk of the players walking out when they heard he was going to be retained and all that stuff. And then you fast forward 9 years later, and here's this guy who all the players are advocating for him, right? They love him. They are playing for him. Was that ever blown 9 years ago, or has he just changed as a coach, or did that change him? I don't know, but it's really interesting, the differences to me that I'm seeing based on what I've read about him at Maryland and what I'm seeing now.
No doubt. I mean, and that's one where I don't know. I guess
it's weird.
You have to know somebody that was. I don't know anybody that was in like Maryland's administration at the time. I mean, it was a. You can go read about it. It was a lot of stuff said. He was kind of cleared of the incident, but yes, what you're talking about was a lot of that for sure. And now you're like the players absolutely love him. I mean, and look at the way they've recruited, like Elijah Melendez and like those guys. They're coming because of him. Shadarius Tootle. I mean, it's not just the guys on the team now. I mean, he's winning recruits over. So maybe something has changed. Maybe you go back that long ago and you get your first opportunity as a head coach and you think that you've got to be, I don't know, more of a boss. And now maybe he feels like he's more of a leader. There's a difference in being a leader and a boss. And maybe he would be trying to be like this, just my way or the highway kind of boss guy.
Maybe trying to be what he thought Nick Saban was.
Yeah.
In some ways.
And now he's maybe a little more empathetic, been through a little bit more, a lot of years down the road, been through some stuff. And maybe there's empathy, I think, is a big part of leadership, and so I do see that in him as being an empathetic guy. So whether he gets the job or not, I don't know, but he looks, like a guy that players certainly. Even Ashton Daniels. It's not just Keldrick. We talked to Ashton Daniels post game, and I have a quote in the Ashton Daniels story where he talks about playing for Dirk. Like it wasn't just Keldrick. Ashton was like, Dirk did a great job this week, and he sparked us, and like he gave a lot of credit to DJ Durkin as well. So
I think no matter what happens, Auburn has to do everything in its power to retain Durkin, whether that's as the next head coach or whether that's as one of the highest paid defensive coordinators in the country. I just think he's a difference maker. He is a special coach. He is really connected with Auburn and his players, and they need to keep him around as long as possible.
Yeah, I would agree. That's just that's going to be an interesting scenario if he doesn't get the job. Which, like,
Yep.
right now, I would say I would bet he doesn't. Doesn't mean he can. I just think that probably the goal is to get somebody else. But that's a tough one because I also understand a new head coach coming in wanting to have his guys. Even if you said, "Listen, dude, if this DC was somewhere else right now, you'd
Yeah.
hire him, right?" And you'd be like, "Yes, I would." But imagine a head coach coming in the AD's like, "Hey, but you got to retain that guy." And that guy's got the ear of the locker room. He's got his whole side of the staff. As a head coach, there could be a little bit of who's the D line coach going to be loyal to, me or DJ Durkin?
Right.
Who's Elijah Melendez going to be loyal to, me or
Yeah.
DJ Durkin? I totally would
Yeah.
understand that point of it and would make it tricky. Where, I mean, it's just I get it. Things start to go bad, and you got a team as a coordinator here that's kind of loved by everybody, and
Yeah.
I think there was a little bit of that. Anyway, I don't want to rehash old stuff, but
Yeah.
I think there were some issues where with Hugh Freeze with that. I think there were some guys that kind of were like, "Hey, we'd like to keep these guys," like namely Parnell and Zach, Auburn guys, Auburn players,
Yeah.
knew the
Yeah.
boosters, and there was a little bit of, "Hey, let's keep them. They're Auburn guys. They're good coaches." I'm not sure that first year Hugh loved that. I think he was just from talking to people. I think there was a
No, I
little
think
bit
you're
of
absolutely
like,
right. Yeah.
who those guys kind of talked to the boosters. Did the boosters like those guys more than me? And I just know there were some issues there. There just were. So
Yeah.
not to
Sure.
rehash it all. But that would to me would be a thought when you're trying to ask a coach to keep Durkin.
Yeah.
But try your best.
Yeah.
And
Not force it on the next guy, but
yeah,
make that a real possibility if he's for it.
yeah. And who knows? You could hire a coach. You could hire a head coach, and Durkin might be the one to go. I don't love that guy. I mean,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
knows how that'll turn out. What else? Nothing really injury wise. Blockton came out of the game, so you're fairly healthy, I guess.
Came in and out twice, I think, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah. All in all,
Yep.
yeah. It's just what a frustrating loss for so many reasons. A game you should have won. Fun to watch the offense, but again, I can't with you. It makes it so much worse to me. It's just like maddening, man. It's just
It
maddening.
really is. It's just another coach that's completely dropped the ball in a critical area. Twice in a row with Harson and run the program and recruiting, and now you've got Freeze on offense. I mean, not just not being good, but just completely dropping the ball. Just being like a 0 out of 10. And you just can't have that.
Yep. So that was a tough one. Well, so now they're 1-6 in the league. Golly, that's brutal. I mean, you're talking about 7-point loss to OU, 6-point loss to A&M, 10-point loss to Georgia, in which you're up
Yep.
10-0. That was like
Yep.
a one-score game. Overtime loss to Missouri, touchdown loss to Kentucky, overtime loss to Vanderbilt. You got 2 overtime losses, and 5 of your 6 losses are literally one score.
Yeah.
I mean, just which is why, like, the ESPN FPI Football Power Index came
I
out.
know.
Auburn's still 24th.
Yeah.
They're still 24th because their schedule's been good and they've been so close that you're like, the power of
So close.
their actual rating. You're like,
Yep.
do you want to play Auburn? No. I mean, they're a good team. They just can't freaking get over the hump.
That's why Alabama should be really worried. They should be very worried right now because Auburn is set up to play their best game of the year on that Saturday at the end of November. They really are in Jordan Hare Stadium. That is going to be electric. They're going to be fired up, and they're going to get after Alabama.
Yeah, the fans are. I mean, there've been lesser Auburn team. I mean, you go back to Harson's first year, Freeze's first year, where they Auburn should have won both of those games.
Completely outmanned too, and now they're not as outmanned.
Yeah, they're not. I'm looking at conference records. So Auburn's sitting at 1-6. Gosh, they went 2-6 last year. So they might be, might go 1-7, despite all of these close games. They might go 1-7, which would be their worst league record since going 0-8 in 2012.
It's tough. Yep.
Golly, and it's that is crazy because this team is got. I mean, this team's more talented than 24, than 23, than 22, than 21. I'd have to go back and look at 20's roster, Malzahn's last year, but receiver wise, definitely, you're probably more talented than that team. The 19 team was good. Bo Nix is a freshman, like that team, Derek Brown, all those guys. But certainly, this team is more talented than certainly the last 5 seasons, and all of those teams are going to end up. If they lose to Bama with better conference records, it's just so inexcusable.
And that 2012 team quit on them, and this team has not come close to that. Not even close.
They deserve so much better. They deserve so much better. Yeah, if you go past 2012, you'd have to go all the way back to the last time they went 1-7 was 1998.
Into the Bowden era. Yep.
Yeah. Bowden's last year. You go that bad in your conference. Whoever's coaching, it's their last year. I mean, 2008 was Chiswick's. Was Tuberville's last year, and 98 was Bowden's last year. So
I wonder if one of Brother Oliver's family members came out and said that he was promised 4 years back then. You'd have to be my age to get that joke, but Brother Oliver said that he was promised that job by I guess it was Auburn's AD at the time. That would be I can't. It's been too long. My mind can't quite reach back that far. That's before I even covered the school. But Daddy was promised 4 years. Justin. David Housen was AD. David Housen. Yeah.
Housen. Yeah, that's right. Yep. I'm just. Not many times they've gone 1-7 or 0-8 in the league. I mean, I just mentioned only twice. If they do it now, it'd be 3 times. But I mean, you're going the next one past 1998. You'd have to go back to back when they were playing just 6. You're in 6 games. They went 0-6 in 1980. So it's just so unbelievable.
Like Barfield's last year. Yep.
Yeah, so they've had 2. Obviously, Freeze went 2-6. Harsin went 2-6 in his last year. So they had a couple of those, but. They don't beat Alabama. You're talking about one of the 3 worst SEC records in the last 45 years, which is just again, they just deserve so much better. So let's hope they can go beat them. But that's a few weeks off. Anything else stand out about that game? McPherson goes 3 for 3. He's 10 for 10 since the Missouri game. That's another one. That's like
great for him.
He's 16 of 19 on the year. It just this
I know one game.
Missouri game.
I know the defense in this game. McPherson in that game. It's just something snake bit, but maybe it's all going to culminate in everybody playing their best game against the Tide and Iron Bowl. We'll see.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit. Yeah. I think that covers it.
The only other thing I would add is when I was standing there about to go into the interview room, Keldrick Falk was outside Auburn's locker room. And as every player walked in, he was patting them on the back, telling them, they played well, don't give up, keep fighting, that kind of stuff. That just tells you what kind of an incredible leader he is. Auburn's been so fortunate to have a guy like him. That's such a great player, and also the hardest worker, the best team, just a 10 out of 10 in every category.
He's awesome. I mean, that's what those comments post-game, not just to us. I think Durkin's quote to the media was a lot of character in that locker room. His quote on the video that was to the players, like the actual locker room speech, was a lot of fiber, like the fiber of this team and the makeup of this team. And that's true, man. It needs to be commended. It's not a moral victory to talk about. It's not like you can talk about the moral makeup of this team and how close these games are, and they're still fighting. I mean, look, before that game, man, like you almost had a brawl. That was crazy. Out of nowhere, Vanderbilt's team just kind of follows their captains out, and you look up and you're like, Vanderbilt's whole team just kind of followed their captains out and was like, and in that moment, Auburn's sideline could have been over there and been like, what are these guys about? Like that moment right there told me, like Auburn immediately, like the team was like, whoa, what are we doing? Are we meeting at midfield? And like here comes Auburn, and Keldrick Falk is out there pointing at people. He's over there going like you and you and like that showed you right there that there's just still a ton of fight in that team, and that's always that's good to see, and they need to be commended for that for sure.
They did.
Well, all right. I think we can we'll have a week of maybe not talking about being mad at Hugh Freeze. Have a bye week. I guess everybody will be mad at him again next week.
Well, I'm going to write about Monday, make everybody mad again. But after that, I promise not to.
All right, after Monday. All right, after Monday. One more day. Yeah, somebody asked on the board. They were like, "What do you think?" Or like somebody was like, "Do you think he's watching the game, thinking?" Or like, what is he thinking? Or do you think he's watching the game thinking whatever? I'm like, no, that's the problem. If he did watch the game, he's thinking, oh, now we execute the plays that I like.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's thinking.
He's not watching that going, maybe I was the problem. Are you crazy? That's not what he's thinking at all. I'd be curious to know if he watched it. I bet he did. I don't know. He might, but I could also see him just not. I don't know that I would.
Yeah.
But, it's just a shame, man. People don't really understand just the lack of attention to detail that went in. It just can't happen. And you see, when Durkin was talking about the who all week, I was thinking he was talking about the who, like get the ball to Cam Coleman or Singleton. Right. When he was like, it's more about the who, maybe he was just talking about Hugh Freeze. Maybe he was like, the who is the person not here anymore. Well, good for them. Good for the offense for rallying. Good for Derek Nix. Good for that side of the ball to go out there, and we'll see if they can't continue the momentum. Go do it again at Mercer. Go look good, man, and then go put up a fight. Like that would be to me what you tell the team. What a great way. We let that one slip away. Go win the Iron Bowl, man. That's the stuff that makes people remember you. So tough loss in Nashville. We'll be off next week, bye week. Not a lot of media this week. We'll see who they put out on Tiger Talk Monday night, but not going to hear from Durkin except Wednesday for a couple of minutes in the SEC. We get nothing. So you won't hear much from them. They probably like that so they can sort of catch their breath a little bit.
Yeah.
And all that. Go to auburnsports.com, subscribe, still $1. I would think we're going to have – we might start to hear a little bit of tidbits about coaching stuff this week. I think getting through the Vanderbilt game because of the short week and everything going on, like there's still due diligence happening behind the scenes, but I also think Cohen was probably a little bit preoccupied with, do they have everything they need?
Yes.
I think now some stuff might pick up behind the scenes, and we'll see if anything leaks out about stuff. Generally, no. I mean, it's not like you're not going to publicize interviews. Guys don't necessarily want their names out there or whatever. But we'll see what we can dig up. I will say hopefully I'm gonna have a piece on this that I've got it kind of written. I just don't know. I need to read it again. But from talking to people, I do really like the direction and the process and the people involved. I do have faith that they're going about this right and that they're going to make a good hire. We'll see. Could be wrong. I'm optimistic that they're going to. I think John Cohen understands the pressure of this, and like I saw him in the press box on Saturday and looked a little stressed. He was kind of sitting. He was kind of sitting up when I saw him. He's kind of by himself at one point sitting, and like and I'm saying that as a good thing. Like I think he gets the weight of the decision. I really do. And so that's a good thing. And I think they'll go through every little piece of data. I mean, that's what he's about. They're gonna go over every little thing to try to figure it out. So I'm optimistic right now. We'll kind of see. Maybe I'll feel different in 2 weeks. I don't know. But
I am pretty optimistic, although I just think all coaching switches are kind of potluck in some ways. You just never know who's going to work out. Auburn just needs to hire somebody that's not a zero in a category, right?
Yeah.
Recruits, runs whatever side of the body runs, or is a great CU coach and hires great assistants, whatever it is. Just find somebody that's gonna do most of the most important things above average to good to great. That would be terrific. Because Auburn's a lot better than people give it credit for as a program. It just needs the right guy in charge.
Oh, no doubt. And that's the other thing. If you're not that you need to see it necessarily, you know Auburn can get talent, but if you're talking to a coach or whatever, and you're like, dude, just go watch the film set. Like any coach is like, they got dudes. Like they've got dudes.
Yep.
Like they just need the right guy. The cupboard's not bare. I mean, there's challenges in that, and coming in, guys might leave. You might have to retain the roster. There's no guarantee that you're going to get Cam or you're going to get Deuce or you're going to get Elijah Melendez or Xavier. No guarantees, but you'll have a shot. You'll have your shot. So, all right, let's get out of here, man. Have a safe trip back. I know you're probably almost home.
Appreciate it.
AuburnSports.com. Subscribe to the YouTube page, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys on the message boards this week.